What if I told you just 5 words could flip the entire dynamic in your love life? 5 words that make him lean in, not pull away. Most women text too much too soon and then wonder why he stops chasing. But when you drop these 5 words at the right time, everything changes. Think about it. When was the last time you sent a message that made him stop scrolling, stop thinking about anything else, and feel a surge of curiosity? Attraction isn't about constant attention, it's about sparking imagination. The problem is, we try to explain ourselves in long paragraphs, but men don't connect with essays, they connect with emotion. That's why 5 simple words, placed perfectly, can do more than 50 texts begging for a reply. And here's the truth, it's not about manipulation. It's about shifting the balance so you stop chasing and instead he starts chasing you. If you're tired of feeling like you're the one putting in all the effort, stay with me, because in a minute I'm going to show you exactly what to say and, more importantly, when to say it, so you can turn the tables in your favor. Let me ask you something. Why is it that just one simple text can make a man drop everything to run after you, while another text can make him slowly drift away? It's not about your looks. It's not about acting like you're hard to get. It's about sparking his emotional mind in a way he can't brush off. In this video, I'm going to share 5 specific words, yes, only 5, that when used at the right time, make a man feel an instant deep pull toward you. And here's the best part, he won't even realize why. This isn't about tricking him, it's about knowing how the male mind works and using it in your favor. Men think and react differently than women when it comes to attraction. While women usually connect through emotions, men respond to mystery, curiosity, and emotional triggers. When you use these 5 words, the way I'll show you, his brain starts doing the chasing for you, even if he was pulling away before. So if you've ever felt ignored, ghosted, or stuck wondering where you stand, stay with me, because after this, you'll never have to chase him again. Ready? Let's get into the first secret word that flips a switch in his head and makes him work for your attention. Before I reveal the first powerful word, you need to see why these words actually work. Because if you don't understand the psychology behind them, you might use the right words at the wrong moment and lose all their effect. Here's the truth. Most people don't realize men fall in love in a different way than women do. While women usually connect emotionally first, men respond strongly to emotional triggers, things that make them feel excited, curious, and slightly challenged. When those triggers get activated, a man's brain releases dopamine, the same chemical linked with desire, reward, and even obsession. When you send the right 5 words, you're not just sending a text, you're switching on something in his brain. Suddenly, you're not just another person in his phone. You turn into a mystery he wants to figure out, a challenge he wants to win, and the woman he feels he has to impress. This happens because of what psychologists call the reward anticipation loop. Men naturally want to chase something that feels a little out of reach. If you hand everything to him too easily, his brain thinks, there's no challenge here, and he starts losing interest. But when you use these 5 words with purpose, you stir curiosity and uncertainty, and his brain begins to crave more from you. Here is the key. This is not about lying or playing games. It's about knowing how attraction really works at a deeper level. The mistake many women make is saying too much, giving too much, or explaining everything too early. That kills the mystery. When you use these 5 words, you give just enough emotional tension to make his mind race with questions like, what does she mean by that? Why now? Is she hinting at something more? And once his curiosity is hooked, he naturally starts chasing the answer, which means he begins chasing you. I've seen this work again and again, no matter the situation, whether he's been pulling back, whether it's someone new you just started texting, or even a boyfriend who has gotten too comfortable. Once you understand this psychology, you can flip the dynamic without ever begging for his attention. And now that you know why this works, you're ready for the fun part, because I'm about to give you the very first word that instantly grabs his focus and makes him crave more of you. Here it is, the very first word that can totally change the way he reacts to you. Imagine. Now I know what you're thinking, how can such a simple word be that powerful? But here's the secret. The word imagine immediately pulls him into a mental picture where he becomes emotionally involved without even noticing. When you ask someone to imagine, you bypass logic and speak directly to the emotional part of the brain, and that's exactly where attraction is built. For instance, if you send a text like, "Imagine us watching the sunset right now," or "Imagine if you were here with me, it would be trouble," the moment he reads it, his brain starts building that picture. He's not just reading anymore, he's experiencing it. And the most important thing is this: when he creates that mental image, his brain releases dopamine, which makes him connect that good feeling directly with you. But timing matters. You don't want to just drop this randomly. The first word works best when there's already some kind of connection. Maybe you've shared a few fun conversations. Maybe he's shown interest, but things have slowed down. Dropping a curiosity-driven imagine text sparks his attention right away. Here's why it works so much better than being too direct. Men crave stimulation and mystery. If you text, "I miss you," it's sweet, but it's expected. But if you say, "Imagine what would happen if we spent tonight together," now his brain lights up. His curiosity rises, and he starts leaning into the fantasy. You're not chasing him, you're opening a door and inviting him in. And once he steps into that vision, he naturally wants more conversation, more closeness, more of you. But remember, imagine is only the start. It's the spark that lights the fire. The next words I'm about to share don't just grab his attention, they tie his emotions to you in a way that's nearly impossible for him to ignore. Because if imagine hooks his mind, the second and third words lock his emotions and keep him coming back again and again. And once you know how to use them, the way he chases you will never feel the same. Now that you've caught his focus with the first word, it's time to raise the emotional intensity. The second and third words are, "What if?" Sounds too simple, right? But these two little words have the power to open up his imagination, trigger his curiosity, and create a pull that keeps him thinking of you. Here's why. When you say "what if," you plant a small seed of possibility in his thoughts. It invites him to picture something that hasn't happened yet. And the unknown of what could be makes him want to lean in closer. His brain starts filling in the blanks, creating the story himself. And because he's the one imagining it, he feels more invested. For example, you could send a text like, "What if tonight was different?" Or, "What if we just disappeared for the weekend?" Do you see the difference? You're not directly saying what you want. You're hinting, you're suggesting, you're giving space for his mind to wander. And that's exactly where desire starts to grow. Men are built to chase the unknown. The more room you leave for imagination, the more he wants to know the answer. And to find that answer, he has to keep coming back to you. That's the beauty of these two words. They open the door just a little for him to step into, but not so wide that he already knows everything. That tiny gap is what keeps him hooked. Don't overuse this. If you throw out "what if" all the time, it starts to lose its effect. The secret is timing and contrast. Drop it in during moments of playfulness, a little tension, or even silence between you. That's when your message hits differently and sparks his brain like electricity. And when you mix the first word, "imagine," with "what if" at the right time, the pull is almost impossible to resist. He begins picturing moments with you, his dopamine rises, and before he even realizes it, he's craving your attention more than ever. But here's where it gets even more interesting. The fourth word is what really locks in his desire. This word doesn't just stir curiosity, it pushes him toward emotional involvement. Once you know how to use it, he won't just think about you, he'll start planning ways to win you. To see why these 5 words work so well, you have to understand how a man's brain reads texts differently from yours. Men and women usually text for different reasons. For most women, texting is about connection. It's about sharing thoughts, showing care, and building closeness. But for many men, texting is more about excitement and reward. Let me explain. When a man gets a message from you, his brain quickly scans it, even if he doesn't realize it. On a subconscious level, he's asking himself, Does this make me curious? Does it excite me? Does it make me feel wanted? Or does it make me feel pressured? If your text sparks curiosity, his brain gets a shot of dopamine, the chemical linked to desire and motivation, and when that rush hits, he naturally wants more. That's why the right 5 words feel almost magical. They light up his emotional brain, not just his logical one. But here's the problem. When you send messages that are too predictable, too available, or too long and detailed, there's no dopamine kick. His mind files it as ordinary, and his focus fades. That's why sending big paragraphs explaining everything you feel, or constantly checking in with "Hey, what's up?" rarely works. It doesn't activate the reward system. Instead, men are naturally pulled toward challenge and mystery. When you give just enough to spark imagination, his brain does the rest. He fills in the gaps, creates his own images, and becomes emotionally drawn into the picture you planted. Think of it this way. A man's attraction often lights up when he feels something unexpected, maybe curiosity, excitement, tension, or even playful challenge. When your message creates those emotions, he connects those feelings to you. That's what keeps him chasing more. This is why the words "I'm showing you" are so powerful. They're built to activate his natural reward loop, the same system that makes him go after goals, success, adventure, and yes, love. Once you understand how his brain reacts, you'll see it's not about texting him non-stop or overthinking every word. It's about sending the right triggers at the right times. And now that you understand how desire is wired in his mind, we're ready for the 4th magic word, the one that takes him from simple curiosity to being deeply hooked. This is where his emotional investment starts climbing higher and higher. Now we've reached the part you've been waiting for, the 4th and 5th words. These are the ones that tie everything together and lock his focus on you. Ready? The words are, "You won't." I know it sounds simple, but here's the secret. These 2 words create a playful challenge, and when you challenge a man, his natural drive to prove himself kicks in. It taps into something psychologists call reactance, the need to prove your freedom or ability when it feels tested. For example, you might text, "You won't believe what I just found out," or "You won't survive a night out with me." Do you see what happens? By saying "you won't," you're lightly daring him. His brain reacts instantly with, "Oh really? Watch me." And just like that, you flip the dynamic. Now he's chasing. And here's the best part. When you mix these last 2 words with the first 3 we already talked about, the effect multiplies. Imagine a text like, "Imagine what would happen if you won't back out," or "What if I told you about a secret place only I know? You won't guess where." That combination touches every attraction trigger in his brain at once. Curiosity, mystery, anticipation, and challenge. His mind instantly wants to resolve it, and the only way he can is by getting closer to you. The beauty here is subtlety. You're not pushing him, you're guiding him gently, letting his own brain create the desire. That's why it works so well. He doesn't feel like you're manipulating him, he feels naturally drawn in. And once he starts chasing, something powerful happens. He puts more time, more thought, and more emotion into you. And the more he invests, the stronger his attachment becomes. This isn't about tricks or games. It's about building a pull that feels natural but is impossible for him to resist. Now that you know all 5 words, you hold the key to unlocking his deepest attraction triggers without begging for attention, over-explaining, or over-analyzing. But knowing the words is only half the game. The real magic is in how and when you use them. And before we go further, I need to warn you. If you're making certain texting mistakes, even the right words won't work. These mistakes silently kill attraction, push him away, and make it almost impossible for him to chase you, no matter how much potential there was at first. The first mistake is over-texting. If you're always double messaging, sending back-to-back texts, or constantly starting the conversation, you unknowingly remove the sense of mystery. Remember, men are wired to pursue. If you're always there and always available, there's nothing left for him to chase. You don't need to act cold or play hard to get, but you do need to leave room for him to feel your absence and want to reach out. The second mistake is oversharing emotions too quickly. If you pour out long paragraphs about what you feel, what you need, or why you're upset, his brain doesn't process it the same way yours does. For a lot of men, too much emotional intensity too soon feels overwhelming. Instead, drop little emotional breadcrumbs, short, intriguing texts that spark curiosity and invite him to lean in. That's what keeps him invested. The third mistake is predictable, low-energy texting. Simple lines like, "Hey, what's up?" or "How's your day?" don't stir any feelings. He's probably getting those exact same messages from several people. If you want to stand out, your texts need to carry some energy, curiosity, or playful challenge. That's what makes you memorable and keeps him coming back for more. Another big mistake is chasing him when he pulls away. It's natural to panic when he goes quiet, but sending texts like, "Why aren't you replying?" or "Did I do something wrong?" only pushes him further away. Instead, give him breathing room. Use one of the 5 words at the right moment to pull him back in instead of forcing a reaction. And here's another truth. Using these 5 words too often is also a mistake. Their real power comes from being rare. If you drop them into every single chat, they lose their effect. The secret is to sprinkle them in at the right times, moments when you want to spark his curiosity or reawaken his desire. Avoiding these mistakes will completely change how men respond to you. When you mix patience, mystery, and emotional triggers, you create an energy that makes him want to give more, invest more, and chase harder. And in the next part, I'll show you exactly how to keep him emotionally hooked for the long run, so it's not just a short chase in the beginning. He stays addicted to you. Now, you already know the 5 powerful words that make a man chase you, but here's something most people miss. Getting his attention is only step 1. If you want him to keep chasing, to keep showing up, and to keep putting in real effort, you have to understand how to keep him emotionally invested. Attraction isn't just about one clever text. It's about building an emotional experience that keeps his mind engaged and his heart tied to you. Men don't stay hooked because of what you look like or even what you say. They stay hooked because of how you make them feel. The real secret is emotional variety. If every interaction feels the same, he will slowly tune out. Not because he doesn't like you, but because his brain stops feeling excited. Think of attraction like a fire. If you only keep throwing in the same type of wood, eventually the fire dies. You need to mix it up to keep the flame alive. Sometimes you should be playful and teasing. Other times you should be soft and affectionate. And every once in a while you should pull back a little and let him wonder what's on your mind. That unpredictability keeps his brain alert and craving more from you. Another important factor is rewarding his effort. When he does something thoughtful, whether it's texting you first, planning something fun, or sharing his feelings, respond in a way that shows you noticed and appreciated it. Even something as small as "That made me smile" can go a long way. This type of response activates his reward system, linking your happiness with his effort. And once he feels that, he'll want to do more of it. But here's where many women unknowingly lose his attention. They make everything too easy. If he knows you'll always reply instantly, always be available, and never challenge him emotionally, his brain starts thinking there's nothing left to earn. And when there's nothing to earn, the chase dies. That's why keeping a touch of mystery matters. Not mind games, but healthy space. Moments where he wonders what you're doing, who you're with, and what you're thinking. That curiosity becomes one of the strongest forces of attraction you can build. Also, keep creating shared experiences, even through text. Use the 5 magic words to paint little emotional pictures in his mind. Send playful dares. Drop hints about fun things you'd like to do together. Spark his imagination. When you're the one who makes him feel excitement and curiosity every time he talks to you, you become unforgettable. Here's the bottom line. Attraction doesn't last because of one big move or a grand gesture. It lasts because of consistency, variety, and balance. Be playful, be unpredictable, give him space to chase, and then reward him when he does. That cycle creates a loop in his mind that keeps him excited, invested, and even obsessed. Not just now, but as long as you want him to be. And in a moment, I'll give you a quick recap of the 5 words and the exact formula for using them at the right times, so you'll never second guess your texts again. So let's bring it all together. You now have the 5 powerful words that can totally shift the dynamic between you and any man you're messaging. You've seen how they spark curiosity, build desire, and make him chase you without even knowing why. The first word, imagine, draws him into your world, letting him picture himself with you and emotionally live the moment you suggest. The second and third words, what if, open up possibility, planting seeds of mystery and leaving him wanting more. And finally, the fourth and fifth words, you won't, challenge him in a fun and irresistible way that lights up his instinct to prove himself. When you use these 5 words the right way, you're not just texting, you're activating emotional triggers that make him want to give more energy, more time, and more attention to you. But remember, it's not only about what you say, it's about when you say it. The impact comes from context and timing. Dropping these words randomly won't give you the same result. Instead, use them in moments where you want to spark curiosity, reignite his interest, or strengthen the bond between you. Here's the real truth. You're not tricking him. You're not manipulating him. You're simply communicating in a way his brain is wired to respond to. Men are naturally wired to pursue. And when you know how to create that pull, the dynamic shifts naturally, without begging, without pressure, and without lowering your self-worth. Now here's my challenge for you. Pick just one of these 5 words and try it today. Use it in a playful, relaxed way and watch how his energy towards you shifts. Then come back and share your story. I'd love to hear how it worked for you. And if this video gave you value, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and tap the bell so you don't miss the next video, where we'll go even deeper into the psychology of attraction and uncover more secrets to make him crave you endlessly. And remember this, when you know how to spark curiosity, mystery, and emotional connection, you'll never have to chase love again, because he'll be the one chasing you.